All right, welcome to Steele the Show. We have our first guest of the podcast history. So this is big for you, by the way. This is a huge performance you got to put on for the Steele the Show listeners. But we have Eric Hosmer joining us. How the fuck are you?
I'm living, boys. Your boy's retired. I'm just talking some shit into a microphone nowadays. So life's good, dude. Hey, Steele the Show. I love that. I feel like the hardest part of the pod is figuring out the name. So I'm all on board with your guys.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me. That was Marty and the boys. I just agreed to it.
We had some bad names going. So, and your guys' pod is a good name too. That's it's catchy. You got it.
I agree.
You don't want to be corny.
I like digging deep.
Yours is digging deep is perfect.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Everyone's like, oh, digging deep, huh? I'm like, we're digging so deep. So deep. So deep. Come on. Let's get on here. Let's talk ball. Let's do it.
Your Twitter game's been impeccable lately. You have been on one with your Twitter game. I love it.
Dude, I feel like on the bus, in the locker room, anytime I saw any of these tweets when I was playing, I would sit there and be like, damn, I want to respond to this so bad. And it's going to cause so many distractions and all this, so I'm not going to do it. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, fuck it. Why not do it? You know what I mean? I'm sending it out there. Let's do it. Let's stick up for the boys. Let's put some accountability on some other positions and get off the heat of the players, man. These guys, what you guys do on a day-to-day basis is unbelievable. To have someone come on and understand numbers that better than somebody else and to make them think that makes them a better baseball player than somebody, it kills me. So that's why I'm on here, and I feel like I'm sticking up for the boys.
I love
Dude, I totally get what you're saying. There's so many times I come across something on Twitter and I'd be like, oh, I just would love to blow this guy up right now or say what I want to say. But like you said, it just ends up creating more distractions and doing more harm than good. But I'm right there with you. Like, as soon as I'm done, like, I'm going to be just free range, just letting it eat.
Eric, can I actually, I got to introduce you to somebody because there's some guy on this show. He's one of our Social Guys producers. He's the guy that you all want to yell at on Twitter. He's a human troll right here. If you could show this human troll.
Want me to sit over?
Yeah, sit right here, Phil. This is what they all are. It's him.
Jeez, man.
Phil, buddy, let's talk about it. Wait, I'm not gonna lie, Marty. I thought you were gonna bring Commissioner Che on this screen right now, and I was about to unload on.
We're gonna talk about that too, because I knew you were in the league, and I need to know more about that as well. But
look at that shirt, Phil.
This is a human troll at the moment. The amount of times that he's probably tweeted your name is probably awful. How many times have you said Eric Hosmer sucked?
Oh, several times. Well, I'm a Mets fan. You ruined my life. Like, you scored that run in the World Series, ruined my life. So this is I've been waiting for this for 9 years.
Hey, I love it. Now we get to hash this out, do it face to face, over the Zoom, whatever it is. Hey, but I will say, Marty, what I have a lot of respect for you for, you're doing this, you're covering baseball, but I've seen some of your videos. You're like, dude, I'm going to go out there and try and hit some big league pitching and see what that's all about.
I appreciate that. I'm just letting you know. I'm 4 for 22 against Major League pitching right now.
Not a bad start.
Not a bad start. I'm just trying to find some more guys, you know? Justin was a little scared of me in the offseason, so we didn't do it yet. But we'll get there.
I can't wait till you actually face Steele.
I wanted to see some video, get a little bit of a report. Now he's done for.
Hey, so listen to this. Every time when I was my short time with the Cubs, when Steele was pitching spring training and even the season, it was so funny because young player nowadays, they really do rely on these metrics. The ball's cutting, the ball's doing this. So guys would get to first base and they're like, dude, Steele's ball, it's got cut spin, but it does a two-seam one time, it cuts one time, it goes straight one time. Like, the amount of domes that you were getting into because of what your ball was doing, it was unbelievable, man.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. That's always good to hear. It's a good confidence builder.
Well, Justin, just letting you know, do you know your record against Eric Hosmer? Your pitching stats?
I don't.
Hosmer's 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. It's a big win for you.
Yeah, I think there's a ground ball to the pitcher in there, too. Oh, did Phil look that up?
I looked that up before the show.
Phil totally did that.
Swear to God, right before the show he told me. I was like, I didn't know any of that.
Phil, I'm in your dome now,
Yeah.
Phil. I'm in your dome now. Let's go.
I fucking love it. I love it. Thank you, Phil. You can go sit in the corner now.
That boy, Phil.
Great showing, Phil. Great showing.
I mean, I'm a troll. That's why I am.
Let's get into what you're saying, though. You're more active on Twitter. You had a great career. You won a World Series. Like, how does it feel to be kind of just like free reign? You can talk about what you want. You had a viral clip on your podcast of Kim smoking cigarettes. One of the funniest clips there was like, does it feel kind of cool to like stick up for your guys now and everything? Like, how does it feel being retired?
Yeah, it does feel good, man. And a funny thing about the clip thing, so I'm new into this podcast world and all that. So Barstool, you guys find it, pick it up, post it on there, credit to Digging Deep, all that.
Yep.
Some of these other big time media outlets put the video on there and don't do the video credit on there. So I got my guys in Jersey that do all the production and all that. They're like, yo, they didn't give us the credit, man. I'm like, yo, who are we gonna fight? Let's go fight somebody right now and handle this. Let's do this. So I'm new to this whole podcast and the media thing, but I tell you what, man, like it was something that, and I think Steele can tell you more of this as well. It's like early on, like the veteran guys that I played with, if you were thinking about doing something like this, it's kind of frowned upon, man. They're like, nah, like we don't do that. That stuff stays inside the clubhouse, stays internal. And you see some more people outside of baseball. You know, you see the Udonis Haslams, who I'm a huge fan of with the Heat. You see some football players doing this type of stuff. And I just felt like baseball didn't really have it, man. And I felt like there's a lot of guys that are getting discredited for what they're doing on the field. So I'm like, I'm going to try and be that guy and see if I can, you know, get some fans engaged and get some stuff going for baseball, same as you guys are doing.
And that's why I wanted Justin to do this, because no one really has a personality in baseball, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, like, Tatis is one that I love Tatis, and like he is like electric on the field, and even on your podcast it's cool to hear him talk, just his personality. No one knows Mike Trout's the best baseball player there is. I know nothing about him besides he's an Eagles fan, and I don't know anything else. You know, like that's where I like getting you guys to tell stories of how actually the baseball shit is happening, and like me, who's just a fan, gets the comments like a moron. He could put me in my place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's baseball. That was never what baseball did. It was like, we got to limit the distractions in the clubhouse. This stuff brings more. You don't want any of that. We talked about the fantasy football league, man. Mike Trout is one of the most active dudes in that group chat that we have. He's always ripping on people. He's doing jokes. He's doing all this stuff. He's hilarious, man. But at the end of the day, he's not doing anything wrong, because when he comes up with guys like Torrey Hunter, Albert Pujols, you're not supposed to be on the social media doing all this stuff. You're just putting your head down, going to work.
Exactly. And I would say like the culture and just the new age of baseball coming up, like that's starting to change. Like I would say even with myself, like starting this podcast, like a few years ago, I would have never even thought about it. But, you know, the current culture, like we have two other guys on our team now that have podcasts. Ian Happ has The Compound, and Dansby has the Express podcast that he's doing. So the culture in baseball, like everything, just, you know, like the world, everything's constantly changing. But it's kind of good to see, because like Marty was saying, people kind of want to know the ins and outs of baseball. So it's cool to be able to bring that to them.
No, 100%. And we're going to get to baseball in a second, but I got to hear a little bit more about this, our fantasy football league. Justin, if you don't know, Dave is in a fantasy football league with a bunch of baseball players. I think
Napoli's in it, correct?
Napoli, I'm pretty sure Machado's in it. I think Trout's in, like Hosmer's in it. Huge names are in it. And we have this guy at work who is Stephen Che, who's a commissioner of this league. And he is the most stubborn guy. You can't get through to him. It's his way or whatever. And you got these like superstars in this league that are complaining towards Che. So I need you to tell me a little bit about Stephen Che and your inner workings of this league.
Yeah, first of all, Stephen Che, Commissioner Che, that's my dog, man. I will say me and Che have gotten tight over the years through text messaging. I got to meet him out there in Vegas during the Super Bowl. So there's one time, it was the first year Che took over as commish. It was like a Thursday night, and me and another guy were trying to get some kind of trade in, and it was late in the year, and I needed a running back for my starting lineup or whatever. So I'm texting Che. I'm like, yo, we just agreed to this trade. Can you push it through so I can start this guy for Thursday Night Football? And Che's like, all right, listen, it's supposed to be bedtime for my kids right now. We'll push bedtime back 10 minutes and we'll get this trade through. And I'm like, dog, it's not that serious, bro. Go put the kids to sleep. We'll figure it out at some point in time later. But man, Che makes it so fun. He sends us these sheets every week. This guy's the high point. He does the recaps for the Barstool. Like, he makes it a lot of fun, man. It's a fun league. It's competitive too.
It's crazy that we know him so well, and he's just such a. He takes it serious. Like, he actually thinks he's Roger Goodell. You know, like, he thinks that he's an actual and he is. He's the commissioner of your guys' league. There's probably a lot of egos in that league. He's got to keep it in check. You know, he's got to have everybody.
Yeah, he does
check.
a good job. He does a good job. He keeps it in check. I got to give him that.
But the thing is, Eric, he doesn't know anything about baseball. So he was asking us about, like, Mike Trout. He's like, oh, is he good? We're like, what? Is Mike Trout good? And, like, all these other guys, Machado, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Dude, there was the first year he wanted to talk about Manny and highlight his week, and he put a picture of Tatis as the photo of the article, and I was like, yo, Che, dog, that's Tatis. Hey, Manny, this is Manny right here. This is who you need in that picture. But Che's good stuff, man. I love Che. I do.
Yeah, he knows nothing about baseball. That's why it's like, because he's not like trying to like be boys with them for like because they're baseball players or whatever. It's like he just knows nothing, but he's the commissioner. It's unbelievable. But
it really is.
Speaking of Manny and Tatis, how was playing for the Padres in that? And I know that you went through that. I need to know the behind the scenes of that trade too, because I'm a Yankee fan. I'm very excited. Juan Soto's on my team at the moment. But like, how did that whole thing go down, and how was it playing with those like superstar guys? Even though you are one, but also with them.
I appreciate that, but I am not on these guys' level, man. Of superstar. When we're talking about superstars, dude, it was so cool, man, because Tatis was the first time that I saw like a young prospect turn into like an A-list celebrity, to the point where like he would get done with games and he would come up to me and like show me his Instagram direct message. And he's like, Papa, who is this? And it's like Steve Aoki being like, hey, man, mad respect, dude. You're a hell of a player and all that. I'm like, bro, these are legends, like icons that are hitting you up. So it was amazing to see that turn. But yeah, the Juan Soto being in New York, he definitely looks like he belongs in pinstripes. But that whole trade thing, when I was in San Diego, it was a long story, man. So basically, long story short, it was 5 total players that were going to DC for the Soto deal. It was 4 minor league players. Those players were already set in stone. Those guys were going. Then there was a pool of 3 big league guys. It was me, Luke Voigt, and Will Myers. Mm-hmm. So basically, I had that no trade protection in my contract. So they hit me up. Hey, do you want to go? This is like 7 a.m. Hey, do you want to go to DC? You're in this trade. The trade's already agreed upon. If not, it's fine. You have the trade clause. It's going to be either Will or Luke. And it's obviously going to be Luke because Will's on the last year of his contract, and Washington's rebuilding. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So that was the hardest part for me, was like, damn, like I have respect for Davey. I have respect for Rizzo over in DC, but like these guys are rebuilding. I don't want to go through another rebuild. I want to have another opportunity to win. So at that point in time, the deadline's at like 1:00. Somebody in San Diego, I'm not going to say names, but somebody leaked out that I was the one holding the trade up. Yeah. So obviously the San Diego Padres want Juan Soto on their team. People are all going at my throat on Twitter like, bro, accept this trade. We're trying to get Juan Soto. Yeah, so
it's not me. There.
Yeah, we're Pete in the background there, right? That's who it is. Phil, my bad. So I'm sitting there like, dude, this isn't being held up because of me. Like, why do people think this, blah, blah, blah. I end up not taking it. The trade happens. I go to Boston. Those guys go to DC. But long story short, man, a situation like that is what really, really like made me want to do something like this, because I really didn't have a platform. I didn't have a podcast like you guys have right now to jump on there and be like, yo, this shit didn't go down like that.
Yeah, no, that is insane. Sometimes I feel like there's something so simple. A guy calls you want to go to DC? Not really. Don't want to go to this new place. Like, and then like, I'm sorry, I want my no trade clause. It's in your contract for a reason. You did that for that reason, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, it's like, Eric Hosmer's a piece of shit. We're not getting Soto now. And it's like, whoa, I'm just eating lunch right now. What's happening right here?
Come on, guys. I got my wife pregnant over here, 6 months pregnant. She's not feeling good.
You're not a person at that point. They don't give a fuck that you have a life. They don't give shit. Again, what, troll? What?
I'm just pointing. I'm laughing. It's a funny story. I'm not a Padres fan. This had nothing to do with me.
But yeah, it's great.
Hey, that was crazy. That was wild times.
That's a wild time of how simple a situation is, but how big media can really make it. And that's why it's great that you get to tell these stories now and like, listen, I didn't do any of this shit.
Yeah, man. It's kind of like, so I'm a huge Giants fan in football.
Let's go.
And I remember when Saquon, Giants guy?
Yep.
G-Man?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Let's go. So every time Saquon, he's been going through his negotiations, and all you read is like, oh, Saquon's holding out, or Saquon doesn't want this. And to me, I'm like, shit, this is like kind of my situation. Maybe somebody in their front office is leaking something that they want out to the fans, so they know who to go media-wise and leak it out how they want to leak it out. And it like, as you're reading it as a fan, you're like, man, like, why isn't this guy signing this deal? Why is he being like this? And to me, it's just like, man, you don't know the full story. You're only hearing one side of it.
It's so true because it's like they just make you look like, without talking, they can somehow make you look like a piece of shit. Kind of like just because like Saquon said like, hey, I want to be a Giant for the rest of my life. I actually truly believe that he did, but I don't think that the Giants valued him enough for him to keep him. And then the Eagles did, and he went to the Eagles. I think that's just how simply it was put. The running back position is weird now, and they don't want that. But like, it's just crazy what the media can do. And listen, we're the media, but we're not really the media. We're morons over here, just being ourselves and talking however, you know. I think Hosmer, unless he's staring through the TV, I think he froze. I was like, is he mad at me right now?
That's an impressive hold, right?
I was like, whoa! I started getting red. I'm like, oh, did I say something wrong? He's got his cut off shirt on.
That's hilarious.
We'll leave that in, but let's wait till he comes back.
1 second while we're getting him back.
Yeah.
It's freezing in my room. I kind of needed this.
What temperature are you going to?
Well, I was sleeping. When I was sleeping, it was on like 67.
Oh yeah, 67 is the play.
It's for me a question I always wanted to ask you. Playing with you and just kind of your play style, your freeness that you played with, your vibes that you brought every day. I always enjoyed pitching on the field alongside you, and just I felt like I was more comfortable out there knowing you was there. Just kind of wanted to ask like where that came from. Did you see somebody play that way and took it from them, or was it something you did like even as a kid growing up and it just always stuck with you?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I've always had fun playing the game. I feel like, especially at the big league level, man, it can get so stressful, and you can be in the middle of a rough patch for yourself personally, but like the dudes around you, you know what I mean? When you take that battle on together, it seems like it's you guys versus the world. When it's just you going back to your locker, kind of handling that internally, going home, dealing with all that stuff, like that ain't fun, So for me personally, man, like at that point in time in my career, I had went through so much with the trade stuff we just talked about, then get traded over to Boston, didn't really get healthy, signed with you guys, felt a little healthier, still didn't feel like I could have been, producing the way I could on the field, especially, early on there when it's cold as shit in Chicago, you're trying to warm up and do all that stuff. So at the end of the day, man, like I just wanted to bring value some kind of way. And I felt like, obviously the production on the field was kind of declining a little bit, but I still wanted to bring value. So I was in a unique spot, especially with you guys. I'm at the end of my contract, a couple more years. I'm not getting paid from the Cubs. So like I can go in there and kind of say what I want to say, you know what I mean, without worrying about pissing anybody off. But I want the best for the players. So that's what I found fun, was like being on the bench with you guys, being on the bench with Madge, with Rios and those type of guys to try and keep them ready, because I knew their opportunity was going to come. So I really did take a liking to doing that those last couple years, and probably why I'm doing this as well, man, because I'm always trying to get guys going, and I like seeing that transition like yourself, like being a dude to all of a sudden being a superstar, all-star type thing. It's fun watching that happen.
Dude, I appreciate that. And yeah, man, like honestly, at the beginning of last year was so much fun just playing baseball. That group of guys we had, it was a ton of fun. The short time I played with you, I really enjoyed it. That kind of leads me into my next question a little bit. Like over your years, like who are some of the teammates and some of the lifelong friends that you've made, like no matter what, like you'll do a vacation with them or like you're always keeping in contact. Obviously, you got the fantasy league and stuff going, so you're keeping in contact with them guys. But who are some of them teammates that ended up turning into like lifelong friends?
Yeah, man. So it's funny you asked that because when I was getting married, when I was picking my best man or my whatever they call that, the groom's party or whatever, I was like, I want to kind of take one person from each stop that I went to in career wise. Like I had my boys growing up. I have, Moose and my buddy Dyson with Kansas City, San Diego, me and Manny were tight. Our families were tight. So, that was kind of the way I thought about that. But as far as like older guys too, Raul Ibanez played with us in 2014. And man, like seeing him in the locker room, he kind of had more of that role I had with you guys last year, but he was 40 and he was, at the end of his career. That was a guy that I still keep in touch with, and I'm always asking him for advice and all that. So he was definitely one of those teammates that I looked up to, and I still do.
I fucking love Raul Ibanez. I love him.
I've had the pleasure of meeting him. He was awesome. He was so nice to me.
Dude, he's the man. And then what he did with the Yankees there those last couple of years, hitting those big homers, he's a stud.
That's like, sick. He's just like didn't expect it really from him, and I love Raul Ibanez. That's a name you will never forget either. Just a great name too.
He's a dog.
Tell Manny Machado I said hi. I feel like I would be good friends with him. Never met him at all. Just if you ever see him, say Marty Mush says hello. Kids are gonna have no idea what you're talking about, but
you'll love Manny. We were actually when we were in Chicago playing the Cubs, I was with the Padres. The fantasy league we brought up, we had a guy back out, so we had an opening, and Moustakis, who was tight with one other guy at Barstool, was like, "Hey, I'm gonna ask Dave if he wants to join this league." So when Dave was like, "Yeah, I'm in. I want to do this," Manny comes down to the cage, and we're like, "Hey." We're like, Dave's joining the league. He's like, Portway, the pizza guy? And I'm like, yes. That guy, he's joining the league. So
I love
Manny's
that.
Great, man. People, when they get to know Manny, they'll see a different side of Manny for sure.
So you were saying like each stop of your career, was it kind of like, because Justin's just Cubs so far, like it's just Cubs and you have been to several different teams. Was it almost like, this team's got a way different camaraderie in the dugout or like in the locker room? There's so much different. Sometimes it's like, some people stay to themselves, they don't talk to you. Like, was each stop so different, or was it kind of around the same?
Yeah, the stops were definitely different. When I was with Kansas City, I was kind of that young group of young core guys that were going to hopefully kind of turn everything around. Then when I got to San Diego, there was that young group of guys that were coming up, and I was the older guy to kind of try and lead them in the right direction and kind of get that going. When I got over to Boston was a weird situation, man, because a lot of those guys, Bogarts, Devers, JD, these guys were kind of on the last year of their contract. Devers, not so much, but there was a lot of extension talk. Will they keep him? Will they not? And that was the second half of the season. I think they expected to either be traded or get more guys, and nothing really happened there. So that was kind of a unique time. And then I got hurt. I was on the IL, didn't really get to travel, spend much time with the guys there. But, man, that group in Chicago, man, the Cubbies, I tell you what, man, you walk into that locker room and you feel like you're in the Ritz-Carlton, like with everything the way it is. It's huge. It's clean. The guys there had fun. I mean, our plane rides were a blast, and we had a good time there, man. So I always tell guys, watch out for the Cubs, because those guys, man, like when you guys get going and when stuff gets weird out there in a good way, you guys feel like you're unstoppable, man. And you got guys like Napoli, coaches that understand, that have been there. So I think it's a dangerous combo what they got going on out there in Chi-Town.
I totally agree, especially, me coming back. J-Mo was hurt the first month. Saya's obviously on IL, Cody. We get all the boys back, get the band back together. It's gonna be interesting. I actually have a question about Chicago. We got a lot of guys from Chicago that listen. What are some of your favorite restaurants and some of your go-to places in Chicago? Trivoli Tavern's actually one of mine right now. I don't know if you've been to Trivoli Tavern in Chicago, but it's really good.
That's the thing about Chicago, man. There are so many good spots out there, and like there's just like you feel like you don't have enough time to go to all of them. I liked Bavette's a lot, man. I thought Bavette's was awesome. I thought that's a cool atmosphere. They got that little secret bar downstairs. I just went there like
2 weeks ago. They had an ice cream sundae that had 14 candy toppings. It was unbelievable.
14? That's unreal. They got a bone broth there, too. That's unbelievable. Like, everything about that place, the vibe, the lights are dim. It's a good spot. But the the true GOAT out there in Chicago is VJ. VJ is the traveling secretary for the Cubs. This dude can make anything happen you need to happen in Chicago. He's the man.
So Justin, is VJ gonna get us anywhere when I come or what?
Dude, he can literally get us. He can get anything. Listen, if I get pulled over and I'm getting arrested, I'm not calling my wife. I'm not calling my mother. I'm calling VJ. VJ is the person I'm calling to get me out of whatever.
I need to meet VJ. This guy sounds awesome.
He's the man.
He's the man.
Mm-hmm.
Haas, I had a last question for me. This is the last one I have written down. So from 2015 to 2019, you played at least 157 games in those seasons consecutively.
Ooh.
So for me, the best ability is availability. So I kind of wanted to see during that time, kind of what was you doing? That's impressive. That's just flat out impressive.
That doesn't happen
I just kind of wanted to, that doesn't happen anymore. So I just wanted to kind of get some insight on it.
Yeah, that's probably why the back blew out when I got over there to Boston and Chicago. You know what I mean? But that was something back in the day, man. That was kind of, it was much more, I don't know if it's not appreciated now, but it was much more of a thing of guys being no, we play every day. You don't take days off, you play every day. I think now there's a lot more studies that go behind it. And if you get certain guys off days, that can be beneficial or whatnot. So to me, it's just kind of a mentality thing, man. You don't want to lose your spot. You don't want to take days off. And that's another thing. I've always gotten so fired up the days where the manager's hey, you're off today, enjoy your day, get recovered, get ready to go tomorrow. And all the way up until game time, you're chilling, you're having a good time. And then the game starts and you're 2-3 innings in and you're man, this sucks, dude. I wish I was playing this game, So it was just more of a mentality thing back then, I think.
Yeah, That's 157 games is outrageous. I mean,
there's only 162.
I know, that's fucking crazy. So there's a two-part question. When you were growing up playing baseball, at what point did you really realize you can do this as a career? Did it click right away? Were you always this guy, the best guy on your team, or when did it click?
Yeah, I would always, be pretty successful. I was, hitting homers, trying to get, hitting third, getting MVPs at these tournaments and all that. My sophomore year, I got a letter from the University of Tennessee, and I'll never forget. I walked in the weight room. My coach was the weightlifting coach or teacher, whatever it was, and he showed me the letter, and I was like, damn, man, this is something that I can actually pursue, and I can get my college paid for and maybe even get drafted. So I think getting that letter was the first man, we should really, really start taking this serious because we can make something out of this.
Yeah, and then you get to the major leagues and you win a World Series. Now, with a team that, let's just be honest, the Royals just haven't in my lifetime. It's just I never really cared about the Royals. I'm going to be completely honest. But that year was crazy. And obviously, not good for you, Phil. But the
mean.
Just how explain that year, because you do your whole life you're going for this goal. Justin's wants that goal. That's what every MLB guy wants. How did that year go for you guys? And did something just click there with the team, the camaraderie, anything?
Yeah, 14, it clicked for us all in the playoffs, man. I think we all remember that wild card game. It was us versus Oakland.
Yep.
Crazy game, back and forth. They were up by 4 with John Lester on the mound. There was 5 or 6 lead changes. And we finally, came back in the 10th, 11th inning, whatever it was, and won. And we literally, from that night, we got on a plane, went to L.A., we got into LA at 6 in the morning. In the postseason, all the off days, you have to go to the field to get a workout in because media, you have to talk to media and you got to be available. So we literally got off the plane at 6 in the morning. Ned, our manager, was listen, let's just go to the field now, get the media stuff done. You guys get back and rest, and then we'll go from there. We ended up sweeping the whole entire American League, get to the World Series. Bumgarner has just an absolute savage-like performance, pitches 3 of the 4 games, wins 3 of the 4 games, we lose. So I think at that point, when we finally lost that, we were damn, we felt like we were better than the Giants. We felt like if Bumgarner didn't have the crazy performance that he does, that we win this series. So I think at that point, it was kind of we blacked out that whole playoff. And then after the fact, we're damn, we can do this. And then the next year, 15, I don't really remember. Maybe Phil can explain what happened.
All right,
this
is. Let me move it. This is mean, Eric.
Get Phil in there.
Yeah, oh, Phil's coming.
This is mean. I don't like reliving that World Series where the Mets had to lead in the 8th inning in 3 of the 4 games or whatever it was.
You don't remember that at all?
No, I remember the NLCS where he swept the Cubs, though. I don't even think Justin was drafted yet.
There you go.
He got drafted the year before. Out of high school.
I mean, Eric, how often do you watch like your slide in Game 5? That broke my heart.
That broke my heart.
Yeah, it ruined me as a man. Yeah.
Hey man, I tell you what. So it was so cool because they do the Gold Glove dinners in New York at the Plaza Hotel in like the second week of the off season. So I was fortunate to win that year. I got to go. And there was a picture in the newspaper of me sliding and like all these fans.
I know the exact picture you're talking about. It's memorized in my brain.
I got to meet like 5 or 6 of those fans, and they all had your type of energy, Phil. So it was funny. It was fun to interact with them and do that thing, man.
God damn. I don't even know what to say. Like I remember. I was in college at the time. I remember going onto campus the next day and just taking a nap on a couch because I was just so defeated after that game.
You made this guy miss class.
Yeah, you ruined my education, Eric.
That's on me.
Hey,
you ended up in a good spot.
Yeah, a good spot.
Congratulations.
Fucking Phil.
I just love that Phil steps out of his house and like that's what he's wearing. Like
Yep,
that fires me up. That guy
it's Knicks Game 5 tonight.
He will always have a
like
big image on his shirt. That's basically what it is. Always an image.
It's the King of New York. We're winning tonight.
Yeah,
Game 5.
Probably are.
Let's go.
We'll get you out of here soon, Eric. But so you retired in February this year, right?
Yep.
Like officially say it. Get into podcasting. What's hard? This is a big cat always usually asks this, but like, what's harder, podcasting or MLB?
I tell you what, man, those guys like Steele, they didn't make life easy. But the hardest thing about podcasting is asking people to come on your podcast.
Yep.
Hey, Steele, can you come on my podcast, bro? And like, if this was me 2 years ago, I'd be like, Steele, no, just be cool and hang up and just say no. But now I think now having some, content out there, having some of the guys see what it is makes it a lot easier. But in the beginning, man, especially when we just went out to Arizona for spring training to do that, it was hard to try and ask people, and like, it just like your pride gets in the way a little bit. Yep. You know what I mean? But I have no problem doing that now because I'm full podcaster, boys. Watch out.
Yeah, listen, I got no pride either. But the hardest part is timing. Like timing everything. Like even us, I think we had 4 different dates we were gonna do this, and all of a sudden it just worked out today.
Oh, and time zones.
Yeah, time zones fuck me. I could barely even understand time zones.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst with time zones.
Oh, you are bad. You don't understand them.
Yes.
You can't figure it out.
I really don't. Well, Arizona doesn't have a time zone change, and that's where I spend a lot of my time. So, like, when I get out into the free world where there's time changing, like, it screws me up. Like, Haas, I meant to ask you, now that you are retired and doing podcasting, where do you spend most of your time? Like, is there a vacation spot you're spending a lot of time? Like, where do you like to spend most of your time?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. Case and I, we're going to Nantucket again this year. We went last year for the first time. And I think it was one of those deals where I wasn't really expecting much going into Nantucket. We went there. It was unbelievable. Like, great food. Some hotels out there are great. It's like everything about it is just awesome. Everyone's on like that island chill mentality. Yeah. So we're going to go back there again this year. That's a spot that we like. But other than that, man, I don't know. That's what's cool about this now is I want to take some trips, be able to do some things in the summer, some stuff that we really never got to do.
Yeah,
that's why I wanted to ask you. That's all I think about is like places I want to go on vacation. Like I've already got a Boca Raton resort like vacation lined up for this off season. Like that's something I always think about. Like when I retire, like where I want to travel and stuff.
I love that.
So much. Moose just went to Stagecoach out there in LA. I'm like, look at this
Hell
dude.
yeah.
He ain't worrying about laying off your slider. This dude's having the best time of his life out there. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Totally.
I also love Justin, just like a Mississippi guy, like just want to go to Boca Raton. Just like there's like so many places to go, and he just picks like there's like 90-year-olds that live in Boca Raton.
Oh,
dude, I love it
buddy.
there.
You were almost a Cy Young last year. We can make these dreams a
Yeah,
little bigger. Man.
yeah, we can get somewhere crazier. Listen, I love Boca Raton. I love Del Rey right over there. Del Rey's fantastic, but you wanted to go there. You're such a simple guy.
Man.
I love it.
I'm a simple man. I'm a simple man.
Listen,
Something about Steele that I do love too. Simple man. Usually the starting pitcher, you can tell the days the guy's not pitching and the days that is his start day. Steele, you cannot tell the difference. And that's something that I've always loved and respected about pitchers, and even specifically Steele, because, dude, you are just so like this the whole time. And it's like 6:30, 6:45, and it's like, oh, shit, Steele's pitching today. I didn't even know that. I just had lunch with him for 2 hours.
I love that about we talked about this the other day because baseball now is becoming a lot of numbers, right? Everyone's numbers this, all blah, blah, blah. I can't stand it. Oh, yes, we got another one. We got another one on our side. Just watch
Phil,
the
give
game.
us 20 more minutes, Phil.
Dude, take all the time you want, bud. I don't care.
Yeah,
this is
let's
great
go.
talk.
But yeah, the numbers is just everything. And it's like sometimes just watch the game and watch how they're pitching. Like Justin, I don't want to talk for you, but you've said like, there's some guys want to watch all the numbers, but you're a big feel guy, right?
Yeah, I'm a big feel guy, and to go off of what Haas was saying, like I like to treat it like a normal day because, like, at the end of the day, we're just playing a baseball game. So, like, I literally like to show up to the field, treat it like a normal day, and then just go out there and try to do the best I can to win a ball game with the boys. And I feel better treating it that way too. It's not fun, like putting so much pressure and so much like anxiety around this like start time of this time I'm going to be starting this game. It's like, no, like we're just going to go play a baseball game at this time. We're going to try and win the ball game with the boys, have a good time afterwards. Like that's kind of how I look at it. It's easier to pitch that way too.
Mm-hmm.
No, 100% is, but the numbers is that's all I hear about. We got a guy here. That's all he looks at is just numbers. I don't even know what some of the acronyms he's saying. I'm like, what the?
It's too much to worry about. It's too much to worry about, honestly.
Too much, because then you get in your head, right? And when you were playing, was it more because the numbers weren't as big when you first started, right?
Yeah, when I was in Kansas City, man, we really didn't do much analytics at all. And then when I got to San Diego, I started to learn more about it. And for me, it's like you can use these as a tool. Like you can use the analytics as a tool. To me, you can't live and die by it. Like if you're living and dying by it, that's not really telling the full story. And that's where, I think our game has gotten to is like the modern day baseball fan. Like say like I'm 34 and younger, I'll say. The modern day baseball fan is just so into these numbers, like it now becomes who can understand the numbers better, and like we're forgetting about there's an actual baseball game that's on the field. Like if I remember correctly, Steele doesn't have the best metrics with spin or any of that type of stuff, but he's going out there giving you 7 innings with 1 run, no runs every single time. Like watch the game, dude. Yeah, that's what he's doing. And like it's gotten to the point now where guys get paid based off of what these metrics are. So if Steele goes and finishes top 3 in the Cy Young last year, that's not sustainable because his metrics say otherwise. Fuck that, dude. Like, I know what I saw. This guy's a horse. If I'm one pitcher away from winning the World Series, I want him on my team if he's a free agent.
100%.
I mean, the guy that won the Cy Young last year had to wait till March to sign a deal.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Phil.
True.
Now we're on the same page. Let's go.
Hell yeah, Phil. Let him know, Phil.
Yeah. But all right, I can say it still can't. Let's look at this press conference that came out with the Marlins guy that just talked for however long he talked for the other day. Are you kidding me? Like, is that guy's running he's running the Miami Marlins right now. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but it's
I saw it.
Come on now. Like, that's where we've gotten as a game. That's what we're doing.
It's crazy to me how a person like that, the way he was talking, I'm like, I don't think he actually watches one single game. It's just like he's on a computer, it's spitting out the information, and it's like, and he's got another bunch of guys that's being like, okay, I know about that, and it's learning. It pisses me off so much, and I think you said it perfectly. You can use it as a tool. It's not everything. It's not just black and white. These are the numbers. This is where Justin Steele's going to stink because it's what? No. It's just when he goes out there and is good. Oh, he's good. I think it's just that simple, you know?
Right. Right.
I can't stand
it.
And
I feel like now that's been kind of the front offices. Now, when you're taking over a team, you want your boys to come take over with you. Some of those hires of assistant coaches have now become these type of guys because that's who the GM is that's hiring all this. Like for me in San Diego, like they always wanted me to get the ball in the air. So like the analytics guy will just come up there and he'd be like, yeah, well, just get the guy get the ball pull side in the air. And I'm like, buddy, how the fuck am I supposed to do that? Like this is what I'm trying to do. Like teach me how to do that. You know what I mean? So like they just make things seem like they're so easy sometimes. And you're like, bro, this is a game that like I need someone that's had the experience to help me go through this, you know?
So was that frustrating where you have a guy that like didn't play baseball?
Yes.
It's like
it's frustrating.
Yes.
It's frustrating.
The way that voice is what I think every voice of them have too. It's like, oh well, by my calculations, you have to get this in the air. It's like, hey, I fucking want to get a hit every time, guy. How about you go out there and do it?
Yeah, like how? Okay, so we just talked about the situation in Miami. How is that guy running a baseball team and he is fully convicted that he's making the right choices and he knows how to do this? But then we got a guy like Mike Napoli in Chicago that's been on team after team as a veteran guy, make the playoffs, win World Series, produce. But it's like, nah, this dude can't manage a team, dude. Like he don't know the numbers. He don't know how to read this thing. Like, come on, bro. Are you kidding me?
No, 100%. It would frustrate me as a player for 1,000%. I don't think every coach has to play the game, but you can still understand it and like be a player's coach, right?
Yes, man. Like, yeah, like it's a great point. Mike Schilt out there in San Diego, he hasn't played the game before. They get beat 10-9, whatever it was in Colorado the other day, and he gives the press conference, and he's like, hey, I got some dogs on my team. Like, if that's the effort we're going to go out there and give every night, we're going to be all right.
Yeah.
So to me, that's money.
I love, and Council's fantastic, right? I love.
Oh, dude, he's awesome. It's been phenomenal. I mean, you got to think like all the injuries we've dealt with so far to be in the position we're in. Like, I mean, hats off. Like, I'm ready to get back with the boys. I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, so I'm just itching to get back with them.
I was talking to Tyone a little bit. He's like, this Council's so good. Like, he's involved in a lot of the process too. It's not just like hands off, do what you guys want. Like he wants to be there helping the boys and stuff. Like, do you like that?
Yeah, something I've noticed is like he's constantly preparing. Like even like for the day before and the beyond that. Like he shows up to the field and it's like he's already preparing for the game and then even tomorrow's game. It's kind of cool to see. He's also doing a great job of walking around the locker room, talking to everybody, making sure everyone's involved. You know, he's just doing a really good job of keeping the locker room connected. And it's a tough job. I mean, you got to worry about 28 different guys. You got medical staff you're worried about, front office you're worried about. I mean, I couldn't imagine being a manager. That's something I totally just could not do. But, I mean, hats off so far. I mean, like I said, with all the injuries and stuff.
Him even, like, checking on you guys, I feel like some coaches are just like, I'm going to show up like it's my job. And, like, he's still a good coach, but not connecting with each person. It's like you said, it's hard, but some people feel like very hands off.
Yeah, he does an unreal job of talking to everybody every single day, making sure everyone's involved and stuff. So yeah, hats off for me.
Well, there's some managers that are kind of like robots, but like the front office tells them what to do. Does that exist? That's more for Eric, I guess.
Yes, Phil. Great question again, buddy. So what we got
what
there.
What a turnaround the fellas having right now, huh?
We could be friends.
So to me, that is where you have a lot of GMs that want control. They want control of what's happening in the dugout. Hey, I don't care what I see from Justin Steele. That third time through the lineup, the numbers say this. So you make sure you take him out at that point in time of the game when that third time comes through. So I think now it has leaned more towards a script where like these managers that aren't really controlling much, they have a script of what to do in certain situations when they happen. And then the stuff doesn't always go to script. And when that happens, it's like, what do you do from that point on? And honestly, it becomes a shit show. So a guy like Council, and what's so impressive about Counts too, is, Counts got hired from Milwaukee, wasn't allowed to bring any of the guys on his staff. he has basically the same staff last year of the Cubs that Ross has, and everybody loved Rossi as well as those coaches do. And I'm sure there's some sort of loyalty to Rossi, but at the same time, we're professionals. You guys got to make it go over there. So I'm sure that transition for him to not only get the players, but the coaches on board with him as well was tough. And he's obviously doing a good job of it because, you guys are playing.
That was actually something I might have actually been talking to Napoli about it, or Flaherty, the bench coach. I was like, did he bring anybody over from the Brewers? Because like you said, that makes it so much more impressive to not be familiar with anybody or anything, coming over to a new job, a new team. Like, that's just flat out impressive.
Yeah, your division rival.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very tough. We'll wrap this up with one last question. Where are you from?
Miami, Florida.
Okay, so did you know what Peniel vodka was growing up?
Growing up? Nah, probably not.
Never.
I knew chicken parmesan. That was about it.
This is nuts. Nobody knows what it was.
I will tell you what's nuts. So I did a little homework check on you boys yesterday. Hey, Marty, I don't know who the hell's having a catch. I don't know where you got that term from. Let's either throw or let's play catch. I'm never saying, Steele, you want to have a catch, buddy?
Yeah, it sounds so ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Never say let's go have a catch. Ever.
No, I haven't said that one time, dude. I honestly don't think I have.
Oh, have you? So you say? Do you say play?
Nobody says it.
Say it again.
Do you say play? Or do you want to play catch? Like, how did you say it?
I feel like I would have said let's go throw. You want to throw?
Okay.
But I do. If someone said, hey, you want to play catch versus let's have a catch, I'm leaning to play and catch all day.
But I think that's where let's be honest, I don't have the greatest speech. My vocabulary is not very good when it comes out of this mouth and sound like an accent like a moron. But let's throw. So I think let's throw is more popular than let's play catch.
Yes, I will agree with you on that, 100%.
And you think it's still play, right, Justin?
No, I never. No, I would say let's. The question you asked me was like, is it have a catch or play catch? You gave me two options, and I gave you the right answer. What baseball players say.
All right, so no Peniel vodka and no have a catch.
Yeah. I feel like if I would have grew up in an Italian household, I would have knew what that was. But
yeah,
totally.
We were having nothing but rice and beans over here, buddy.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, dude. We're gonna collab with your guys' show. Hopefully, we want to do something in person at one point. Like, I feel like this was a fantastic interview. I gotta be honest.
It was a lot of fun. Haas, thanks so much for doing this. It was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, Steele. Anything for you, buddy. Marty, Phil, nice to meet you, boys. Are you guys in New York or Chicago?
New York.
New York.
Okay, so I'll be spending some time up there. Maybe I'll hit you guys up. We'll come in the office, do some things out there, man. That'd be fun.
Yeah, let's definitely do it. Actually, we should do a video you teaching me, like, help my swing.
Hey, I can be. So we got the pitching ninja. I'll be the hitting ninja for you. All right?
Exactly. Listen, I need some tips right now. So
I love this.
All right, we'll set that up. All right.
Come on, Phil, you hate that you like me.
I hate that after this interview, I like you slightly more. You're correct about that.
Let me tell you, I gotta be honest now, since we're friends, and I wasn't gonna bring this up. You blocked Phil on Twitter because of how much of an asshole he was during the
I'm blocked.
Everybody with the Heisman, bro.
And I love that. And I love that because I said because I would block him too. Like he knows it as well. Like, you're a troll.
I probably deserved it. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I didn't.
Phil, we will unblock you, buddy. I promise you.
Okay, sweet.
So let me give you background on that. So when I get traded from San Diego, they're in the playoffs. I'm in Boston with my newborn child at 4 a.m, feeding him milk. Log on to Twitter and I see Eric Hosmer trending, and everyone that's over there talking shit. I'm like, dude, man, block you. I couldn't do it anymore. I cracked, Phil. You got me.
I don't blame you. I deserved it.
You got me.
And you know what?
You're better than that, Phil.
After this,
he's better. That's what I'm saying. This is a podcast. This is like rehab for Phil. Like these are people.
He just had a kid. He just had a kid.
No, this is rehab for Phil. Like you are not gonna be a gremlin under the bridge. Yeah. You're going to talk to these human beings, and this whole podcast is about is rehab for Phil.
Are we just gonna have all the players I hate on now? Like Eustace coming on next? Give Moustakis, Alex Gordon.
Is he calling Moose out?
out?
Is that what Phil's doing?
After this interview, you're my number 2 most hated player ever, behind Mike Moustakis.
Oh shit! Let's go.
All right, now we got Moose coming up.
Down.
Oh man, Marty, send
it.
me Phil's Instagram and Twitter because I'm gonna like every picture you put up there now. So I hope you see it right away, buddy.
I love that.
Let's go.
Eric Hosmer, you're the man. No joke. That was unbelievable interview. Go check out his podcast. I checked out the last one we were just talking about when you were off, the Tatis one and Eric. When you're friendly with these other guys, it wasn't like a podcast. It's just flowing, you know? And that's what we're trying to get to, me and Justin. Just like, it's not like question. It's just talking about any experience, you know? And you guys doing a great job, especially for a guy that's like, I'm new to this. You're very, very good on the mic. So appreciate you coming on and blessing us on our first guest. Everyone's going to remember, when Steele Show blows up, Eric Hosmer, first guest. So I appreciate you.
Hey, well, I'm starting it out too, so let's grow this thing together, man. I look forward to catching up with you guys and doing more.
Let's do it. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Oz.
Yeah, man. See you, buddy.